bottle was 2 miles long, right? If it was a 2 mile long bottle, according to spherical geometry, 8 inches per mile squared defines a ball Earth the size of 24,000 miles in circumference, right? So 8 inches per mile squared. If this was 2 miles long, you square the 2, that's 4. You multiply it by 8 inches, 32 inches. Over a distance of just 2 miles, you should have a hump of water in the middle of that 2 miles of about half of the 32, which would be 16 freaking inches, right? Now, nothing we know about water have we ever imagined. Do we ever think of a resting body of water where there's a freaking hump in the middle? The only place where we really get that from is from photos or pictures of the Earth from NASA, right? When you see a ball and you see the curve, yeah, you see the water bending, right? But really, nowhere on Earth are we actually experiencing that. We're not. We think we are. I know one place where everybody was told when we were young, right? Oh, you see a ship sail over the horizon, and that's the freaking curve of the Earth, right? What I find interesting with that freaking thought experiment is this: 2 things, right? If I can see over a distance of just 4 or 5 miles, because remember, at eye level, the distance to the horizon is just 4 or 5 miles, I think. It's a very short distance to the horizon.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, right. If I can see that much freaking curvature, that a ship disappears in that amount of space, in that amount of distance, how come when I get up in a plane and I'm freaking 5 miles up, why aren't I seeing a big freaking curve of the ball? Because you're not, right? Because there's no curve. Nobody is finding this freaking curve. I'm telling you, people...
Well, it's really big, though.
I'm sorry, I'm getting crazy, man. I'm failing so bad. I wanted to remain calm, and I lose my mind.
That's because it's really big, though. Like, when you, like, take, like...
No, but you're missing my point. Wait, listen again. When they tell you...
Yeah, but they're just telling you that. That's not really true.
Oh, I agree with you, but that's what that's one of the points they use to prove that you live on a ball, right?
No, not exactly.
Sure it is, man. They taught all of us when we were young. They said, oh, you can tell her it's a ball because when the ship goes over the horizon, the mast disappears from the hull, from the mast down, right? From the hull up.
Okay, well, how does night and day work? How's the rotating axis work like that?
Don't get into too crazy shit for me. I'm not good at the whole model, and I honestly, some people claim that there is a good model. I do think that the ball Earth model has a lot of problems. Sometimes the sun and the moon will be in the sky at the same time, and if you start paying attention to stuff as you become sucked into this stuff.
Wait, time out. Wait, are you educated in astrophysics?
No. I am up to a point where I've looked into it at this point in my life.
So okay, so wait, what would make you qualified to argue against someone that studied 20 years studying astrophysics?
Well, I'm using evidence that regardless of what is up in space, right? What's up in space doesn't really define what's here on ground.
Do you believe in atoms?
Do I believe in atoms?
Yeah. Do you believe in atoms?
I have no idea. I haven't really investigated them myself, so who knows? Are they real? Maybe, maybe not. I would imagine, that when scientists using
most people believe in atoms, because they've taken a picture of an atom.
100%. But most people believe the Earth is flat too, or believe that the Earth is a ball. No. And here I am standing here.
Well, okay, but they've taken a photo of an atom. Yeah. They've seen a single atom. So that's it. So
all right, hold on. Let me explain.
You can't see an atom, but you know it exists. Just like you can't see the Earth is flat, but you know it exists.
But I just want to be really clear. Dude, there's a million things I don't know. Okay? A million. There's a million things. I've come to the point now, I'm comfortable saying, like, no, I can't explain everything about flat Earth, man. There's some things I still can't figure out. If the sun is small and close, right, how is it that if you go up in an airplane, right, that you can't see it if you go high enough that you wouldn't be able to see the sun?
You know the magnitude of the Earth? Yeah.
Do you? Have you traveled it yourself?
What?
Have you traveled it yourself? Where are you coming up with the magnitude? Yeah, I'm not arguing with you. I'm making a point. How are you so sure you know what the magnitude of the Earth is?
NASA. They have free.
Right, from other people, right? Do you know that of the people who landed on the moon, like six or eight of the guys? Freemasons. You've heard about Freemasons and shit like that. You know, like 6 or 8 of the dudes were were Freemasons in that freaking quote little secret society.
Well, I have
weird.
A question.
It starts getting strange.
Where do you get all this stuff from?
These are all like little memes that people were putting around on the internet, and that I find that things that I found somewhat interesting that help explain.
How do you know these aren't like bad information?
Oh well, you in a way you don't, but in a way, one thing I do know is true, or at least that I experienced myself, is I did experiment this one. You know when you go to the beach and you can see the water, like the sun rays go right up to the edge of the water on the sand. You can see the sun rays right from low when the sun is setting. Well, on a ball, you wouldn't really expect the sun rays to curve consistently and be able to bounce off the water so that it laps all the way up to your feet. I did that experiment just using, if you use plexiglass and you put a flashlight parallel to the plexiglass and you bend the plexiglass a little, you know what's going to happen at where the hump is. You're not going to have any light on the other side. That's just common sense.
No, plexiglass it's different. It's a different compound than
I'm well aware. All
Water.
right. So I was I'm just. It was a simple experiment just to say, this is on a very basic level. It is replicating what a ball. I mean, you could use it with a basketball. Shine a light on one edge of the basketball. You don't expect the light to hit the other edge of the basketball. It's a ball.
Yeah, but that's a sphere.
Yeah, but that's also.
So is the Earth supposedly, and that's what I'm saying. On this water, the sun is somehow getting around over the ball.
You're taking
the Earth, right? Over the horizon.
You're taking a ball and a flashlight like this far away.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you have the Earth, massive. Then you have the sun, which is a million times more massive.
It still has the curve.
A million times more massive than the Earth.
How do you know that?
From billions
But how do you know
miles away.
that? Have you proved that
Basic
yourself?
scientific practice.
Right. No, my point. This is my point, guys. I swear.
Prove it yourself.
All right, check. This is my point. I'm so appreciative of you guys hanging around this long because you also brought new customers. So wait, hold on. You guys, I'm going to start with this before we continue. There is a belief. There is a principle. Yeah, there is a principle that will keep a man in everlasting ignorance. Does anybody know what that principle is? That principle is condemnation before investigation, right? Now, what is the condemnation of? It's condemnation of evidence that is contrary to your current belief system. That's all I'm trying to say. Is that if you're unwilling to take a look and to listen to evidence that contradicts everything you think you know, right? And guess what, brother? You're gonna be like me at age 46. You're gonna be an ignorant freaking fool. Because that's what I was at age 46. I thought I freaking knew everything. Everything that the school told me was true. I thought I lived on a spinning ball. I thought that I pretty much trusted the government. I was a complete zombie. And that's what most people are these days. I mean, I got a lot of kids coming up to me today telling me they're not even qualified at their age of 16, 17 to give me an opinion as to whether the government lies or not. What? What? Of course the government lies.
Why would they lie about this, though?
You guys, I wasn't referring to you guys, by the way. I was talking younger. Why would they lie about that? Ultimately, I hate going here. Dude, don't. One is control, okay? One is control. If you believe you live on a spinning ball, right? Then Earth is finite, 100%, right? There's a finite amount of land. There's a finite amount of continents. Supposedly, on a flat Earth model, it is possible that there is lands outside of what we know. Is that not true? What?
Wait, what is that?
Does it say no gas chambers?
Yeah, man. Yeah. All right. See, now this one, I bring this with me, and it's like so mind-bending, right? This was the first thing, actually, one of the first things that I ran into. That the math alone, it's right.
Are you arguing that the gas chambers didn't exist?
I'm 100%. I think that the gas chambers are a lie. If you would do the investigation into it,
you realize that you can go to Auschwitz and see the gas chambers.
All right.
Correct.
Yeah, 100%. But what they call gas chambers, do you know? All right, guys, folks, real quick. Has anybody here investigated, into a Holocaust?
You can class on the Holocaust.
But what I'm saying, investigating information that contradicts the official mainstream government promoted narrative.
We went in this
Okay. The Nazis were some of the most well-documented governments there was, and you can find.
All right. Well, then you tell me. Do you trust the Red Cross? Do you trust the Red Cross? I'm asking you a question. Does anybody here trust the Red Cross? Right? Check this out.
Buying the gas, they use the gas chamber.
Here's what the Red Cross said. Supposedly the most dreaded of German camps, Auschwitz was visited monthly by the International Red Cross inspection teams, who were allowed to speak to prisoner representatives alone in order to hear firsthand any mistreatment, chicanery, interruption, mail and parcel delivery, health concerns, and ration matters. They gave Auschwitz a clear. They cleared Auschwitz as being humane to their people. What you have to understand is that in the United States, we had Japanese. Do you know that we had Japanese internment camps here in the United States?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
We didn't gas them to death.
Right. Well, maybe Germany had the same thing.
They didn't.
But my point being is that so let me ask you. All right.
Videos of all the bodies being burned.
Okay, great. Listen.
There's literally videos.
Listen. Just check with me for a second.
No, there's literally.
So you're saying that this is a lie? This report is a lie? You're saying, right?
Yeah, dude. What are
you know it's a lie.
Dude, wait.
How do you know it's a lie?
You're literally arguing against that Auschwitz didn't kill
millions. Well, hold on.
That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Germans made it look like.
Supposedly the most dreaded.
Wait, hold on. A lot of this stuff, and you can see a lot of these types of things have been proven.
You see this lady? You see that 86-year-old woman?
Yeah.
She's convinced she knows the truth about Auschwitz. She's not afraid to speak her mind. But guess what? You're not. It is illegal. It is illegal to research the Holocaust against the mainstream narrative of what happened there. It is illegal in European countries to research. You will go to jail. She is sitting in jail, or she was, for over 2.5 years at age 86 just for investigating. Does that sound right to you? What?
Never heard
Look up Ursula Haberback. Look her up right now, folks. I'm not shitting you. Does that sound, does the truth, see what you have to understand is the truth will always stand on its own 2 feet. So the government fears that, because if you look into this, you'll figure it out in a second. But what they know is most people won't look into it, because it's tied to anti-Semitism. If you think that this, then right away you're a Jew hater. That's what they said. I have plenty of Jews, friends.
Who killed my grandparents then if the Holocaust wasn't real?
I have no idea. Is it possible that
they were taken out of their homes, right? And they were killed.
Right.
Who killed them?
There are no doubt, there's plenty of Jews. I'm not denying that Jewish people died during the World War II. What I'm denying is that there was...
A lot of my people died and they were taken out of their homes. Their towns
That's cool. I appreciate that. I'm not disagreeing with you.
And I need to know what happened to them. If you're saying it didn't happen,
have you? All right. Well, then, if you honestly feel that way, do you know that there's a saying? I'm going to give you the saying that I gave all the other kids. There's a saying, there's a principle which will leave a man in everlasting ignorance. And that principle is condemnation before investigation. Okay? Hold on, wait, let me finish. Now, what does that mean to you, what I just said?
To accept something without proof. But there is proof.
Right, no, but my question now is that, so no, it's not that. What that really means is that if you're gonna hold a belief, and then somebody tells you they disagree with you and they have a different argument, right? And they want to show you their evidence. If you refuse to honestly look into that evidence and then to weigh that evidence without having your emotions involved, that your grandparents, who I don't deny died, okay? I'm not denying that. What I'm saying is that I don't believe that there were gas chambers. So now the point being is that
actual gas chambers in place.
People are able to go to Auschwitz and see this with their eyes.
Right. And I'm not denying that people are told that those are the gas chambers, and that's
not used.
But right now,
they weren't used.
Just hold on.
Why did they lie?
What about the Zyklon B gas tank?
Wait, just listen for a moment, okay? All I am saying is I am not interested in convincing anybody here what I believe.
Why are you standing here talking to us if you're not trying to convince us?
Because I don't want to convince anybody. What I want to do is get you peaked with some of if I give you some evidence, right? Let me give you a piece of evidence, right? Does anybody here know how long it takes to cremate a human body?
How long?
With using today's technology?
How long?
No? Nobody? All right, I know, because I've looked into this.
I'm wondering why you know.
Well, this is very important, okay? Because the math tells you something's wrong with the story. The math. You can't beat the math on this, right? So it takes over an hour using today's technology to cremate a human body. And when they're done, you're still left with all the bones, okay? You don't just burn up the bones. The bones they actually crunch them up until get small pieces of rock. So now you have a math problem. Does anybody know what muffles are as regarding to Auschwitz? Do you know what the muffles is regarding? I have a YouTube channel. And by the way, I'm not trying to trigger anybody. I really want to help people just investigate.
Can this not go?
I'm trying to tell you.
No, genuinely asking, can this not go on the YouTube?
Okay, so check this out. Muffles are what they called the actual cremation where you'd burn an individual body. Yeah. At the height, at the very maximum, Auschwitz had 46 muffles in operation. Okay, now. Not all of them could even be used at the same time because they had to perform maintenance continuously because they were freaking using them, right? Now, here's the key. If it takes from research from crematories, like modern crematory can't run its cremation thing all day long because your metal, I guess, the components get so hot over a period of time. You got to let that thing cool down. And this is not even modern technology. We're talking 1940s technology made with bricks, mortar, stuff that's going to break down even easier, right? So now we have a math problem. Now we have 46 muffles. It takes approximately 2 hours to get a body to be cremated. So you do the math. At 2 hours, that's 12 per hour per 46. You're at about 500-600 cremations that you can do per day, times 30 days a month. You're at 18,000 a month. How far is 18,000 a month from a million? From just 1 million. And they said that they had a plaque saying there were 6 million Jews who died in Auschwitz. But when everybody called them on it, you know what it's down to? It's now down to 1.5 million. 1.5 million. So that's good news because that means 4.5 million Jews, they didn't die, I guess, right? Isn't that what it means?
No, where did they go?
6 million Jews.
Well, no, no. My point being is, where did they go if they're not dead, though, right? I thought they died. 6 million.
They just dissolved into the air.
Died in the Holocaust.
Okay.
6 million Jews died.
I'm getting off tangent.
6 million people died in general in the Holocaust. Throughout all of their concentration camps.
No, Auschwitz had one saying that at that particular camp, this is how many.
Talk to these people about this when my ancestors died in the Holocaust.
Okay, yes, I'm not.
You're an anti-Semite. I'm ashamed.
I am. I agree. I am. Yes. No, I mean, what am I supposed to say to that, right? I've told you already. I'm not. But anyway, my point being is this.
You're denying something that happened to our people, and we know it happened because we're gone. Our population.
All right. So again, all I would do is ask you this. It's go back to the saying, condemnation before investigation is the highest form of ignorance. If you investigate this and you come to a better conclusion than me, I would ask you to come back and straighten me out.
Let me tell you something now. We are a very small population of people.
Yes.
Like 1% of the world is Jewish.
Okay. All right. How about the American? You know the American Indians? Does anybody know the American Indians? Do you know that we slaughtered the American Indians? Are there American Indian museums everywhere dotted across the United States? And are we having remembrance days for the American Indians? Are we?
Yeah.
What day is it? What days are they?
Monday.
This coming Monday is the American Indian Day?
What are we doing with Syria right now? Slaughtering the people because of Trump.
No, well,
do with anything.
Right. Well, I agree with you in terms of like war is a complete. It's like why are we doing anything war related to anybody in this world? Right? I agree with you. War is a scam. None of us here. Does anybody wait?
Why is he doing it?
Does anybody here? No.
Because he has 2 Trump
It's
towers.
because have you ever heard of the? Has anybody ever heard of the MIC? Has anybody ever heard of the MIC? It's a military-industrial complex. It's a business. How does the military stay in business? You got to have a war, or you can't. And if you shoot those bullets, you got to replenish them. That's the reason for wars. It's a business, guys. That's all. And they tell you, oh, it's the Chinese. Oh, it's the Russians. How many people here don't like Russians? Don't like Chinese? Don't like it? Nobody, right? We're all fine with everybody. I don't have any beef against any of them. It's always the politicians, because the politicians are literally in place to make your life a living hell.
But Nazi Germany's different than Syria. Those are 2 different.
I didn't bring up Syria. I mean, he did. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
I mean, like, there are some wars that are for profit, but this was a totally different situation.
Yeah. Well, again, all I know is that when I looked into it, listen, for 40, let me put it this way. Let me put it this way. For 46 years, I watched movies about the Holocaust, and for 46 years, I would cry during some movies. I would freaking cry like a little baby, right?
Yeah,
because it would upset me over what I believed happened.
Yeah,
well, when I came to my new belief, I got angry.
Because a lot of people died.
Dude, let me ask you. All right, let's go back. Let's start another subject. World Trade Center, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know that 3 buildings fell that day, people? 3 skyscrapers, not 2, 3.
You're talking about 9/11, right?
Yeah.
Right, if you're about to say 9/11 is a conspiracy theory,
no. Well, that's condemnation before investigation. Why are you so triggered by that? Of course it is. He doesn't want to hear anybody else's side or opinion.
I've seen the video.
I'll listen to your opinion.
Okay.
I've seen
the video.
Okay, because I actually have a. All right, so here's the deal. Here's what's interesting about 9/11. On 9/11, 3 buildings fell. Only 2 buildings were hit by planes, right? We know of only 2 planes, right, that supposedly hit the buildings, right?
Yeah, the other one was by debris.
The 3rd building that fell that day was Building 7, Tower 7. They called it Tower 7. It was 47-story high skyscraper. 47 stories high is a pretty tall building. Would you agree with me? That building is the first building in history, first building ever in all of history, steel structured building ever to fall down from fire. From fire alone. It's the first time. But guess what? It really wasn't the first building in history, because there were 2 other buildings, steel structure buildings that day, that fell due to fire, supposedly. Building 1, World Trade Center 1, and World Trade Center 2. Now they were, let's say, they were obviously hit by planes, so I'll leave that aside. My point being is that if you watch video on Building 7 collapsing, I don't know if anybody has watched Building 7 collapse, folks, it falls at almost perfectly free fall speed. So that means that it fell completely. I was talking to a young Princeton computer science guy who knew physics pretty well about this too. As soon as I told him that Building 7 fell in 8 seconds, free fall speed would have been 6 seconds, right? As soon as I told him that, he said, "What?" He goes, "What?" He knows right away, that can't happen. That's not a natural phenomenon for steel to just collapse in and of itself. Did you know that on 9/11, the day of 9/11, that it was predicted on BBC, they actually said that Building 7 had fallen over like an hour or 2 prior to it falling. And yet, remember, I told you, it was the first steel structure building ever to fall in all of history. And they predicted it from due to fire, I'm saying. So somehow BBC is predicting something that's never happened. Did you know that on 9/11? You can look it up on YouTube. It's not as easy to find these days, but you can see them saying firemen saying they're going to take Building 7 down. They're going to take it down. Yeah. I'm not making, dude. Why would I make this shit up, man? What do you think? I just want to have people hate me? Come on.
I don't know who you're listening to, the final.
Well, this is all right. So now, right, and now here's the key.
A lot of these are just memes. Like you don't know who made these memes.
Right. But what I'll say to this is though, how am I finding it? Anybody, if you can, go to stoplookthink.com. YouTube, forget about it, man. They bury any videos that have good information. They censor the channels these days. I know it sounds crazy, man. I used to think the same thing, but you will get censored. I've got cards here. Anybody, please take them. It has Flat Earth 101, and you can find other information. I'm not looking to convince anybody. I'm looking for people just to do their own research on this crap. Did I give you one or no?
You already gave me.
Yeah. Look into it. I know it sounds crazy, guys. I know. I know it's utterly insane.
Are you gave me one?
I even called it idiotic when I found out about it. Guys, I'll show you some, this is kind of interesting stuff over here. I don't know if you guys saw this, but this will really trigger some people. But you see these guys? These guys are they're literally called crisis actors. They have,
Crisis actors?
These guys here, no, for real. This is what the military uses to train paramedics and people in the military who are going to deal with like, let's say you're a new guy in the military and you're a paramedic. You want to get exposed to scary situations, right?
Yeah.
So what they do is they have these guys who simulate injuries. They're actually people who are amputees, but then they put what's called moulage on them, right? And it looks real, right?
It is real.
It looks real. But guess what? Check this out. This kind of looks real too, right? This guy, that's the Boston bombing, Jeffrey Bauman, right?
You think that was fake?
All right, well, let me ask you a question, right? Use your own critical thinking here, guys. You see this pavement below this? This guy he just lost unfortunately his leg supposedly 6 minutes prior. Only 6 minutes prior. Look beneath the pavement here, the pavement behind him. Guys, there's a high definition photo. If you look it up right now, you can look it up on your phone. And what you'll see is there's not one single freaking drop of blood coming from his legs. There's a woman, you can Google her name. Her name is Dr. Lorraine Day. She was chief of orthopedic surgery at San Francisco General Hospital. Look up Dr. Lorraine Day and Google her. Google Dr. Lorraine Day Boston bombing. And what you'll find is she says, what you're seeing is impossible. She goes, first off, no trained medic would ever put a double amputee that just lost their legs into a wheelchair. You'd be laid flat, because if you do this, there's a high likelihood you're going to bleed to death much faster. She said the idea that he would be conscious at this point is ludicrous.
Do you think that the Florida shooting was fake?
Yeah, I think all the shootings are fake.
All of them?
All of them. You name one and I'll tell you if I think it's fake.
Why do you think the Florida shooting is fake?
Mandalay Bay? Oh, the Las Vegas?
Yeah.
100%.
Why?
Okay. All right, so let's start with, do you know that the guy was shooting from that, supposedly he was shooting from that room for over an hour? Over an hour. Now, if you've ever been to Las Vegas, the one thing I can tell you, they have security everywhere. It wouldn't take an hour. You know how loud it is when you shoot? Just a handgun is loud. You're gonna hear it, okay? Now, he wasn't shooting handguns. He was shooting military-grade weapons.
Yeah.
They're loud. People are gonna hear it. They're gonna figure out where he is, and it ain't gonna take him an hour. Okay? The whole thing is a charade. It's laughable. There's a term for it.
You realize, okay, yeah, you can find the general direction it's gonna be, but all the fucking rooms in that building, to find the exact room he's in, it's gonna take a while.
All right, what about Sandy Hook?
Oh, yeah, all of them, dude. All. Sandy Hook's easy. Sandy Hook is crazy easy. Yeah. There was Wolfgang Halbug is a guy. He was a former. He actually investigated schools to make sure he was in charge of making sure schools' safety protocol were up to snuff.
They
right.
filed a lawsuit against Alex Jones about that.
Yeah.
It was proven that it was false.
No.
It was proven it was false.
And there's a reason why that takes place. Okay. So what happens? Think about this.
Because our children actually died. I have a question for you.
Do you believe the court system is just? Yeah.
In this case, probably yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, have you ever been to court?
No.
I have. Do you know that for videotaping on the boardwalk, I was on the boardwalk in New Jersey. This is exactly what I was doing. Do you know that I got a ticket for videotaping on the boardwalk?
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Right. You would think it's called free speech, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it is.
That's what I said. So I said to the cops, I said,
Were you
they were, well, no, they were, no, I was doing exactly what I'm doing here, right? So what happened was, I had for 4 days, each time I would go to the beach, they came at me and they would say, oh, you can't do it. And I said, well, show me the law that says I can't. And so one guy, I said, get me your supervisor and you have him tell me what the law is. The supervisor came and he okayed me for videotaping. So I'm like, oh, okay, great. The next week I go, now they're telling me I can't videotape young kids. There's no freaking, and because what they were trying to do is insinuate that I'm like a sicko, right?
Yeah.
So they were trying to set me up for that. So then the final time they come and I just said, I got pissed off and I said, you know what? Freaking write me the ticket and I'll freaking straighten it out with the prosecutor, because no prosecutor in their right mind will ever prosecute freaking free speech. Well, guess what? They prosecuted my ass and I got a fine for $500 and I paid it because fighting it was much more difficult than just paying the freaking fine. And that, my friends, is justice in the United States.
So you
Sorry if I sound a little pissed off. What?
You believe the Earth is flat?
I do.
So may I ask, like, what's your opinion on being in planes and seeing the curvature of the Earth?
Oh, okay, that's a great one. So that's what they tell us, right? I hear it all the time. People tell me, oh, you can see the curvature from the planes, right? I have people tell me all the time, they say, well, haven't you ever flown in a plane, like laughing, giggling? And I say, well, according to, you guys, anybody here know Neil deGrasse Tyson? Ever hear of him?
Yeah.
Well, according to Neil deGrasse Tyson, he says, it's flat from 30,000 feet. He's like, you'll never see any curve. He goes, you'll have to be over 120,000 feet high to see any little bit of curvature. So I guess I'll side with Neil on that one. You know what I mean? But so that means all the people, and I've had so many people tell me that they saw the curve in the plane. Are they lying to me? Or maybe they're imagining they saw it? Or is Neil deGrasse Tyson wrong? You tell me.
What about time zones? Correct.
Excuse me?
Neil deGrasse Tyson's correct. It's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what about all these people who told me, like, yeah, you just told me, right? You saw the curve at 36,000. What? Are you lying to me?
He's not lying to you. It's just like you're seeing.
No, but and by the way, I lie. Listen, I lie even to today. I hate it, and it's we all lie, I think. But maybe you're not lying. Maybe you thought you saw the curve too, right?
But what about shouldn't there be an end of the Earth?
Oh, do you want? Okay, now that's another thing that people use. Nobody wants it. Condemnation before investigation is the highest form of ignorance, people. That'll leave a man in everlasting ignorance. Now, as far as an edge to the Earth, right? Don't they tell us that space is infinite? They do, don't they?
Yeah.
So if space is infinite, right?
It's expanding.
We already know.
What's to preclude the Earth from being an infinite plane? Who's to say it's not an infinite plane, right?
Well, I mean, I
Well,
don't
the
think
fact that we
anybody's
can
ever.
go to the other side.
Have you done it?
Yes.
You've tested that out?
Yes.
Partly what I'm out here trying to do is show people a lot of what we're basing our opinions and beliefs on are just what we've been told from a third-party source. And that third-party source, NASA, do you guys understand?
If the Earth was an infinite plane, you think we would have discovered more land than what we already have?
Yeah, you don't think we're just taking it over?
Who's looking, man? We live on a ball. Everybody knows they live on a ball. Who's looking for more land?
Why wouldn't if we had infinite land? Why wouldn't countries?
No, my point is everybody knows they live on a ball, right? If you know you live on a ball, why would you be looking for more land? There is no more land on a ball. You know what's there.
Exploration? Remember, like, people still
No,
look
dude,
around.
you're telling me why wouldn't
You're
people...
saying it's on an infinite plane.
Right. So now today, today I agree with you. That's one of the things some people in Flat Earth want to do is explore. Did you know that there's a treaty, Antarctic Treaty? It's one of the few treaties all the nations have agreed upon that you can't go out and explore Antarctica. You can't do it. It's agreed upon by over 50 nations since 1959. Funny enough, right when we started this space race.
You think it's because it's an infinite plane?
Guys, all right. Does anybody know when the last time we supposedly went to the moon?
Where is Antarctica?
What year was the last time we supposedly went to the moon?
Can't be on the ground. Can't be on the bottom. That'd be a ball.
I think it was 1970 freaking 2. 1972. And there's you look up Don Pettit. We don't have the technology to go to the moon. Look it up now, I'm not lying. But an astronaut, one of the NASA freak liars, astronaut Don Pettit. Well, just listen. This is what he says. He goes, the reason why, we can't go to the moon, he says, is because we lost that technology and it's too painful a process to build it back. What?
You have to prove all this to be true.
You got to be a sucker to believe that. Everything gets better over time. Things don't go backwards in time where it gets harder to do something. Come on, guys, wake up.
What do you have to say to time zones?
I don't have anything to say. You got to look into that. It is on here showing how the sun would be closer.
He's crazy. This is what he wants. Walk away. Walk away.
Yeah. Hey, ma'am, there's a principle which will keep a person in everlasting ignorance, and that principle is what is it? Condemnation before investigation.
I have a question for you. What do you say to people like me whose family went through the Holocaust?
I say that I do not doubt for 1 second that Jews and other people died in World War II. 100%, no doubt about it. It was gruesome. It was horrible.
Gas chambers then? Why are you like complaining?
Because it's a lie, man. It's freaking lie.
Why would they lie about the gas chambers?
Because I looked into it.
Holocaust?
Because I looked into it. Look into it. And if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Come back.
I understand the why.
Dude, I'm sorry. I'm getting so triggered. Folks, I apologize. I don't mean to get triggered. He asked me why I believe that the gas chambers don't exist. Yeah, I know, right? Oh my gosh, I'm horrible, right? Yeah, I'm such a bad guy. No, I agree with you. That's what folks.
Enlighten me.
That's what groups want us as people to be like.
Well,
because
you got sleep.
just listen a second. If you can make it so something is taboo to be brought up, right? Then you don't have to worry about anybody coming up with any evidence because no one, not a single person, will examine it. No one will look at it because they've already made up their minds, right? You've already made up your mind. And that goes right into the saying I like. You know, it will keep a man in the principle that will keep a man in everlasting ignorance is condemnation before investigation.
So why would people lie about the gas chambers? Why is that? Why would you say that's a lie? What would be the advantage if people were slaughtered in World War II no matter what?
Right.
Why would they lie about the gas chambers? Because I've heard a lot as a Jewish person in my life. I've heard a lot of conspiracy theories about my people, which aren't true. That like there's some sort of Jewish cabal, and we lied about the Holocaust for political gain.
Right.
And as a Jewish person who I didn't grow up with a lot of money, I don't go to Princeton. I don't have any family in the financial industry. I don't have any family who's bankers or anything. It just seems like such bullshit. Dude, so harmful to my people, and that's one reason it's such a emotional thing when people say that the Holocaust is a hoax, because many of the conspiracy theories that go behind the Holocaust being a hoax are directly meant to say there's a Jewish cabal, Jewish people should die.
I hear what you're saying. All right, first off, let me state that I had predominantly Jewish friends for some reason when I was young. I'm not Jewish myself. Whatever, it happened to be that way, right? So it is what it is. But call me anti-Semitic if you want, and that's what you want to call me.
I'm not necessarily calling you that.
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying if people want to deem me that. Now, have you ever looked into evidence that supports? Have you ever looked at the evidence that supports that the gas chambers are a lie? Have you ever investigated that evidence?
Yeah, actually I have.
Okay, great. So now let me ask you a question and we'll test you on how well you looked at that evidence. You ready? Okay. Can you tell me how long it takes for a modern crematory to incinerate a body today? Do you have any idea? Because this is important. No, do you have any idea? Do you know how long they said it took to cremate the bodies at Auschwitz?
Are we talking about gas chambers, not crematories? That's a good point. And also, wouldn't it take longer to incinerate one person in a crematorium than to incinerate like a giant pile of bodies?
See, that's exactly what people think. That's what I thought. But listen, I watched movies about Holocaust, dude. I used to freaking cry, break down and cry. Right? I'm sure everybody has, right? You watch it, and you're like, my favorite one was the guy with the piano. Remember the
pianist?
Dude, the pianist was great, right? Oh no, the other one where the kid trailed the dad around, imaginary, and he played a game with the kid. Remember the one where the kid? Oh, dude, it's one of the best movies ever. But now I just get pissed when I see him. I lost my freaking train of thought. Okay, so it's important though because what happens is when you investigate you'll come to the math of the Holocaust, the math of the gas chambers. The math of the gas chambers is impossible. But what you said is, wouldn't a stack of bodies burn better than just one, right?
How's that the math of the gas chambers? What are you talking about?
Well, I'll tell you that in a minute. But regarding stacking up bodies, the problem is that we all know that our bodies are primarily composed of water. They're primarily composed of water. right? And so try to burn water. It is not easy. And then what?
Trees also have water in them.
Right, and it's not easy to burn a living tree either.
Well, I mean, forest fires happen all the time.
So if you step in fire, you
right, that's a difference though. They're in a dry season when they have tons of dry leaves amongst them. Listen, if you guys have already made up your mind, I'm not looking to change your mind and convince you of anything.
I'm open-minded. I'm just trying to listen to the reason.
Right. What I would say at this point, you're going to learn far more on your own, digging on the internet and looking for information for
but
that.
You're the sensei. I'm trying to like understand.
Well, right. No. That's listen.
I'm trying to understand like your reasoning for why this stuff happened.
Right. I'm with you, man, and I can give you my evidence. But when everybody's laughing and funny,
laughing.
No, it is. You know, generally speaking, but that's okay. I called people who thought Earth was flat idiots when I first heard it, so I'm totally okay. That's why I can stand out here and have everybody laugh at me. It ain't a big deal. It's no big deal, man. It's fine. So it's not. It's not.
I just want to know the why.
What you want to know is evidence, man. And
what I want to
why you mean it through me, I don't know. I shouldn't have to spoon feed
it. What I want to know is why would, if you believe the Holocaust,
yeah, man.
Thank you. If you believe the Holocaust happened,
my channel's Zoom Truth. If anybody ever wants to get back in touch with me too, I'd love to hear from you.
Why do you record and where do you post it?
I record because I have a YouTube channel. It's Zoom Truth, 2 words. And I would love to have. I have had a few people get in touch with me and say, dude, I've looked into what you said, like people who, were just like you on the street, and not often, man, I'm talking 2 times in the last 2 years that I've had feedback. I've had other people online tell me blah, blah, blah. But as far as, no, but just how many, how few people I talk to actually follow up and look into what I'm telling you? Are you going to go to Holocaust? Will you do me a favor?
I actually did go down the flat Earth rabbit hole, and a lot of it just...
I'll tell you this, you guys, everybody, I would love to, if you go to Holocaust Deprogramming course and just read the evidence there, I would have you on a live stream and we can talk about what it is that you found, and that anybody here can listen, because it will be, I'm not afraid, but did you know that, you guys know that in Europe, in like 17 countries in Europe, this old lady here, see this old lady? Ursula Haberback was thrown in jail for 2.5 years. You know why? Because she investigated the Holocaust. That's all. She admitted to, it's illegal, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing.
You don't think it's a bad thing?
To be illegal, to be a Nazi and...
Ooh. My cat just died, man. It's so freaking depressing having a pet die on you. Oh. So, you guys see any of this craziness? Have you ever heard about, crisis actors? Now, check this out. People hate me for this stuff. I'm sorry, but I have to bring it out because, to me, this is truth. These guys here are what you would call like paid crisis actors for the military, and so they help paramedics and guys in the military get used to like traumatic, right? They literally have blood squirting out of them and everything to make it as real as realistic, so that when this stuff happens, it's not. They don't freak out, right? Makes sense. So now here's what this took me so long to accept like that this is possible. So I know I sound like a freaking lunatic. I mean, but I can't help myself because I see it so easily now. All right, so now what I see here, this is Jeff Bauman from the Boston bombing, right? And I knew that picture existed for a long time before I ever actually finally got the guts to look at it, because I was so afraid to even look at it. I didn't want to see it. It's too gross, right? Finally, I learned about all this moulage stuff, and I'm like, oh my God. I look at this picture, and right away, I'm like, wait a second. This guy, he's missing both his freaking legs. If you look down on the pavement, and you can look up this photo on your phone and see it crystal clear, like it's perfect definition, you won't see a single, not even a small droplet. You won't see a small droplet of blood. Let me tell you, I used to pick my nose a lot when I was a little kid, right? I was a good nose picker. And sometimes you pick too hard, right? And when that blood started coming out, where's the blood, man? How does my nose bleed more than this guy with no freaking legs? All you have to do is Google Dr. Lorraine Day. She was chief of orthopedic surgery at San Francisco General Hospital. And she'll tell you, like, the idea that you would ever put a double amputee in a wheelchair, she's like, the stupidest thing you don't do that. You're gonna bleed to death even faster. You lay them flat with their legs raised, right? Even an idiot like me knows that, and I'm not a medic, anybody. So they put him in a wheelchair. You wouldn't do that. this knee, I think, is actually sticking out way too far. But I don't know if you ever saw him, but do you know that 3 weeks after the Boston bombing, 3 weeks, he was at the Pittsburgh Penguins game, and everyone was cheering him on, man. USA, USA, right? Well, in that, both his legs are chopped off, but they're like chopped off like way, way high, you know, way high. So the idea is that, you know, he's wearing this little piece of fakery over his already amputated leg, is what I really think has happened. Because again, where's the evidence? There's no evidence of any blood. There's a great website if you guys really want to watch 3.5-hour documentary. It's called The Boston Unbombing. YouTube and Google not only censored it, but they memory hold it. Like 1984, you can't, like if you Google it, nothing comes up, right? If you go to stoplookthink.com, the guy on that, he's a flat earther too, but he saved it on his hard drive to his own website, and you can watch it. It's 3.5 hours long, piece by piece. There's a guy, there's multiple people whose legs, their clothing is shredded. Like, you know, like if you shred it with a scissor, straight up and down. But you look at the people's legs, and there's not even a single scratch or drop of blood on them. But meanwhile, it blew their pants straight off. Like, most of the people are walking around with, like, they still have their underwear on too. Woohoo! Like, the bomb didn't get their underwear, but it got their pants and everything else, because that's good for the TV show, right? Because when we see stuff on TV, we know it's real. And that's what I'm trying to tell. And, you know, I appreciate you guys listening. You know, it's up to people who I talk to whether or not they investigate this themselves. I'm under no illusion that I'm going to talk to anybody and they're going to be like, holy crap, that guy, you know, unless of course there's some people who know of lies and then their minds are ready to kind of absorb something that otherwise is completely insane. Anyway, you guys got the cards? No. These are, this is for the flat earth stuff, which I know sounds crazy, dude, but it's censored. Why do they censor it on YouTube? Right? It's weird. Why would you censor it? See the nice little old lady there? That's Ursula Haberback. They put her in jail for 2 years at age 86 for investigating the Holocaust. And she would not, and she would basically, she wouldn't say that there were gas chambers like they wanted her to. She stuck to her story, so they threw her ass in jail. True story, man. You gotta look her up.
I've been to a concentration camp.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying they don't, but remember, have you met Santa Claus before?
No.
Have you ever met the Easter Bunny?
No.
You ever see them?
No.
Because all I'm saying is that, are they real just because they're there? Right? Come on, man. Just expand your mind a little bit. I know you guys gave me that much time, so I know you're a lot further than most other people.
Crisis actor.
The crisis actor thing is insane, I think.
That one I admitted.
Dude, well then you're out of your mind, according to most of society, right? But I hear you, man. Like Las Vegas shooting, right?
Yeah.
Did you hear? All right. So I'm watching. I made a video on Las Vegas shooting. I live streamed like the day after or something, and YouTube censored me on that and gave me a strike, like right off the bat for my live stream on it. But the one guy, he killed me. During his interview, do you remember the one guy who said my buddy took 3 to the chest? He's in an interview like an hour after it happened, 2 hours. First off, if my buddy is shot, I'm not going to be doing an interview, right? But anyway, he's hanging out, loving the limelight. He's like, yeah, my buddy took 3. He goes, he took 3 to the chest, but he's going to be okay. Did you know and the other guy in the Las Vegas shooting? Do you know the young guy from Australia and his little liar girlfriend? He's like, yeah, I got shot through the head and it came out here. And in the interview, like the same day it happened, he's out. There's not even shaved, and he shows you like a dot on his head. Dude, man, what's going on, bro? Where do we live? That the mind control is that strong. I got shot in the head with a rifle. You ever see what they do with a rifle with a watermelon? It blows the freaking thing. Yes! So guys, I'll leave you, this is a good one to leave you with, and I'll let you go. There's a principle which will leave a man in everlasting ignorance. That poor guy there. And that principle is condemnation before investigation. That was me, man, until age 46. Good for you too, I love you.